Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's a Monday night, which means normally we'd be playing Shadows of Esteren at the moment. However, we've got a couple of weeks off that before Christmas, so I decided why not run a very festive Call of Cthulhu game on a space station. So that's what you've tuned into. I hope that that's what you wanted to tune into. Below the stream, there are links to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our social media accounts, our Discord, which you can join and come and chat to us about all things tabletop role-playing games and other. And also our Patreon, which if you enjoy what we do on the channel, you can support us through that and you receive things in return, such as access to bits of the Discord where you get behind the scenes and ahead of time information, all the way up to Matt, who runs other games on the channel, running a game for you and your friends once a month. So that's all very exciting. Other things we do on the channel, normally on Wednesdays we have Simba Room, although that's not on this week. However, on Thursday this week our World of Darkness game is running, so Matt has put together a big system spanning storyline. So there have been 4 episodes of Vampire already. Currently they're working through Werewolf. Other systems will follow, and they all take place on the same night in the same city. So if you want more info on that, then maybe just watch the first Vampire, and I'm sure Matt explains it all there really well, much better than I ever could. And on the first Saturday of every month, we run a different one-shot adventure with different GMs and different systems and different players. So this year we've had Alien, Troika, Morkborg, Fiasco, The Expanse, Honey Heist, The One Ring, Dungeon World, Wander Home, Dune, and then just yesterday Matt ran a sequel to the Alien game that was run earlier in the year. So that's it for one-shots for the year now. Apart from this is kind of a one-shot. There'll be lots more of those next year, so lots more different games that we'll be running. And you can watch any and all of these things that I've mentioned on our YouTube channel, as well as a bunch of other things that we've run over the last year. We are going to have, just quickly before I forget, we're going to have a background picture behind the players and myself, which is from NASA and the European Space Agency. So it's under a license that we can use it, but credit where credit's due. It's a lovely picture. So that is from them. Let's bring our players on. Let's bring on Sam first. Sam is playing Olivia Goswami. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Tell us a little about Olivia.
Yeah, so she's 31 years old.
Sorry. I should say what the setting is first.
Yeah, I was thinking that. She's there. So she's just floating in open space. There's nothing around her.
There is at the beginning of January 2022, the UK base, which stands for United Kingdom Orbital. No, it doesn't. United Kingdom Bureau for Aeronautical and Space Exploration launched their first space station, UK Orb, which is United Kingdom Orbital Research Base. So another group of researchers did the first 6 months, and our players this evening will be playing the second group to have come up to the space station and be carrying out different kinds of research. They are coming to the end of their 6-month stint, and they all carry out different types of research. Now, Sam, tell us a little bit about Olivia and what she's doing on the Orb.
Who is not floating in open spaces and, in fact, on a perfectly reasonable space station. Yeah, that makes much more sense. So Olivia is 31 years old. She's a biologist by trade. Specifically, she's here to study kind of how species of Earth behave in an extraterrestrial environment, looking at a variety of different species and how they might, for example, spread along with humans as we potentially spread to other planets and in orbit around other solar systems, or within the solar system and potentially other solar systems. So that's right from little microbes to maybe even rats. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, she's of Indian heritage. She's quite kind of a fairly quiet and keeps to herself sort of person, friendly enough, but kind of quite concerned with her research. Maybe not the most comfortable around people all the time, but yeah, otherwise she's very much focused on kind of being good to people, and what matters in life is treating those around you in the world with respect and things like that. She's a bit got sort of some faith to her,
Nice. Let's bring on Steve, who is playing Simon Turner. Hi, Steve.
Hi there.
Tell us a little about Simon and his personality and research.
Right, yes. So Simon is an ex-pilot. He flew logistics and transport for the military for several years before applying to become an astronaut. So he's a pretty good pilot. He's fairly wiry and compact. Excuse me, Siri is interrupting me. Yes, blonde hair, brown eyes. So he's good with. He's a good pilot. He's also good with electrical maintenance, that sort of stuff. His area of science is physics. So astronomy and physics are his specialties. What else? Yes, he's married and has 2 kids. Fairly easygoing, fairly cheerful. Doesn't drink or smoke. Certainly not in a space station. And that's probably about all for now, I think.
Nice. Let's have John, who is going to be playing Mark. Hi, John.
Hi, Jonny.
Tell us about Mark and Mark's purpose on the station and all that stuff.
So Mark is there as the primary medic for the space station. He's an ex-army medic, sadly not a fully qualified doctor, because he didn't quite get that far in his studies as he left the army a few years ago. Basically because he says it's because he doesn't like the schedule and being told what to do and all of the rules, and now he's on a space station where every moment of the day is dictated by a schedule. So that might not entirely be it, but he's fairly friendly, but not very he's very talkative, but doesn't talk about himself too much. He's quite burly, obviously quite fit, but what used to be quite a tight-cropped face and head has now gone a little bit wild, especially as shaving in space is a massive faff. And he's just sort of gone a little bit space hobo. Yeah, he doesn't have any experiments on his own because he's kind of there to keep an eye on the crew and make sure nothing bad happens. So he's mostly a bit of a maintenance guy and a spare pair of hands for anyone else who needs them.
Nice, thanks. And finally, we have Matt back with us playing Eric. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
Tell us about Eric.
Eric, yeah. So Eric is 43. He's quite kind of well built, quite athletic. Although I guess a few months in space has kind of taken the edge off that a little bit. He's a scientist principally in sleep research. So he was in the army for a while, kind of working on sort of fatigue counteraction. So making sure that the special forces and other things could perform well with a sleep deficit or various other kind of sleep disorders, making sure that they were very effective. And then he moved into research, and then has ended up experimenting to make sure that people can be as effective as possible while in the kind of unique circumstances of being in orbit. He's a family man. He spends most of his free time, what limited free time there is up there, either experimenting with kind of resistance training equipment, and exercising, or corresponding with his family. He's generally pretty warm, but does keep conversation at quite a high level with his colleagues in the station, because he's also, as part of his research, possibly kind of having discussions with them that are similar to therapy, perhaps, and so he kind of draws a very clear line between himself and the others, but all the while, being very jovial and being very warm, but perhaps not getting into the most intense of conversations. So yeah, that's Eric.
Nice, thanks. So 6 a.m. on Saturday, the 24th of December, 2022, and each of your alarms go off. You have been allowed by base to basically have whatever alarm you want. So if you have a radio alarm, well, not a radio, obviously, but if you have some kind of musical alarm, or if you just have a normal alarm clock, that goes off and wakes you. And you're all pretty well in the rhythm by this point. You've been up here for nearly 6 months now, and you're very used to the daily drill. So you know that 5 minutes, and you pretty much want to be having your breakfast and getting cleaned up for the day before starting station maintenance and cleaning at 7. So you all kind of roll out of bed and meet in the sort of central area of the station, and grab out some rations and have a morning chat with your breakfast.
I feel like Olivia is always very slightly late, like every single breakfast. And people who actually know probably know it's not because she takes a moment to roll out of bed. It's because the moment she wakes up, she likes to have like a moment to herself, just quietly to contemplate. And so she's always like takes longer doing that than she probably should, according to the time of things. And she has like a birdsong alarm, and that plays the whole time she's taking a moment to herself. And if someone bothers her in that time, she gets very cranky.
The chances of your alarms sort of bothering each other are pretty small, unless somebody opens the door to their compartment with it going off. Sorry, go on, Matt.
I was going to say, I think if not the last, Eric's maybe the second last there, because he's currently kind of rigging himself up with various sensors and things to measure his biometrics while he's sleeping. So he's just taking a little bit longer to just unhook all of that before he comes to breakfast.
Do you want to make me a sciencey roll for whatever you've got that put in as? I can't remember what you had it put in as.
Yeah, biology.
Yeah.
If he fails this, does he just walk in like half in, still in his equipment, having not successfully taken it off? Help me!
You've still got one.
Thankfully, that is a pass with a 46.
Okay, in that case, what has happened is that you had sort of come up with a predicted outcome for this particular experiment that you were doing, and you were basically spot on to like a decimal point of what your expectation was. And you can gain a sanity.
Oh, wonderful.
Ooh, that's a good start for Cthulhu.
Absolute blinder of a start.
So with it, you basically kind of you head out to to breakfast with a bit of a spring in your step, having started the day with a successful experiment upon waking.
Very good.
So
I will have pre-prepped the rations for everyone who is late to turn up. Because Olivia, I expect it by now.
I will walk in and see you having prepared the rations, and it's just a tradition now, but I'll just be like, oh, you didn't have to. So thank you very much.
That's all right, Olivia. We've got to, make things easy for each other.
I'll just nod with a slightly awkward smile, despite how many times you've done this, and then appreciate my rations.
I think I might have... go on.
Go on, Steve.
I think I might have grabbed some rations and then floated over to, whatever passes as the cockpit or the nearest set of environmental controls or dials, and I'll just be checking over things, making sure that things are ticking over well. No alarms, no.
A working breakfast.
Yeah.
I think Eric will kind of shout over to Cam then. How's the weather looking today?
Still cold.
Do you want to make me a roll on that, Steve, for Cam? Of
Sure.
I guess, did you put in computers? I suppose.
Yes, computer use. I've got.
I guess that would probably be the relevant skill.
Probably. I mean, other than so I've got I've nominally got a skill in piloting, but I guess it's
either or. I think it's probably similar.
I'll go for piloting because that's better. And yes, roll 43 under 70, so that's a pass.
Cool. You are confident that you have completed your checks, and nothing seems untoward on your checks through everything. You feel like the maintenance that you've been doing every day as a team has kind of kept everything ticking over pretty nicely.
Good stuff. Well, I think once I've done that, I'll then float back and relax a bit and anchor myself at the whatever passes for the breakfast table. Yes, eat with the others.
Eric, you look like you have a spring in your step, so to speak, this morning.
Well, it's all just feels like it's going to be a good day. I was trying something a little bit new last night, just to see if, won't bore you with the details, but it seemed to do the trick. I might be rolling this out to you guys soon.
Sounds good. Perhaps you can bore us with the details a little later.
So, once everyone's eaten, you kind of move on to toothbrushing and other such activities, such as they are in microgravity. Obviously, slightly more difficult than planetary gravity, but again, nearly 6 months in, you've kind of got the hang of all of this stuff now. And you move on to basically cleaning and maintenance. So greasing things that need to be greased and cleaning things that shouldn't have grease on them, and replacing any parts that need replacing. So this takes up quite a chunk of your morning every morning, just to make sure, obviously something goes wrong with this stuff. You're kind of in serious trouble if it's something important. So as a team, you all understand the importance, and it's about 3 hours of your day every day that you spend on this stuff.
Who's doing the toilets today? Is it? Go.
I think it might have been your turn, Olivia. Remember, you traded with Eric for the last of the blueberry pie rations?
Oh, you didn't have to remind him, did you?
You asked.
I did ask. Fine. I shrug my shoulders a bit and push off the side to move towards the toilets. Smile.
Why don't you all make spot hidden rolls? Let's do it this way.
Success.
Fail.
Success at this end.
Success.
Cool. So you do have a double checking system in place. So somebody missing something at first glance does not spell disaster for the team. So there are a couple of things that just require a small amount of tweaking in the checks through the morning. And let's say Eric happens to spot something that he is aware that Cam had missed on his check round.
For once, I thought I wouldn't take spot hidden in a Cthulhu game. I'm already regretting it. I thought everybody else will have spot hidden. You know, it's you always dump loads of points. So
But
I'm
it's
sure.
worked out okay.
Yeah,
The
I'm
buddy
sure it'll be
system.
fine. Yeah, no problem.
So what you're saying is this happens every morning.
Cam,
Yeah.
did you catch this one? Hang on, I don't think this is right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cheers. Yeah, that'll need some attention. I'll get on that.
Thanks, man.
Can you make a sanity roll for Cam, Steve, just to see how you react to the?
Jeez. I don't like this already. 26. I pass.
Cool. Yeah, you handle it with a reasonable amount of decorum, I think.
Eric's going to kind of pat him on the shoulder and be like, need to get you on my cocktail next night.
It's just, kind of a loose bit of piping that's hidden behind some other bits of stuff. So it is relatively easily missed. And you don't feel too bad about it when you spot it. So, yes, station cleaning and maintenance complete. And you're nearing 10 a.m. You actually get done a little early. So you have about 10 minutes of free time before you are technically due to start your exercise regimes for the day. If anybody wants to do anything, you are able to contact people at home through sort of satellite video calls. So if anybody does want to do that, you can spend a few minutes doing that. You are aware that sometimes it can take a little while to connect, and maybe you might spend the majority of that 10 minutes sat waiting. And it's quite common for you to sort of bank these little bits of extra time potentially and kind of, bunch them together at another point on a sort of trust-based system of, somebody not taking an hour off from maintenance if they shouldn't be doing, kind of thing. So it's up to you if anybody wants to spend that 10 minutes doing anything specific.
Is space station time matching GMT?
You are at GMT, yes.
Cool. In case my partner will definitely be working.
I think Eric's in a good mood, so he's just going to kind of say to the group, you guys crack on, I'll finish this up.
I suspect Olivia will just be, she'll be in kind of the viewing area. Usually there's like a window that looks back down towards her. She'll probably just perch herself in there for a few minutes just to kind of watch the clouds fly by.
Nice.
I'm going to get a 10-minute head start on my exercise. I think I brought one of those. One of my personal items was one of those like elastic resistance bands. Like warming up with that.
Nice. There is, you have weights on the station, and you have a treadmill, which you'd sort of clip yourself onto basically to keep your legs working and stop them from sort of, atrophy and that kind of real healthy stuff that can happen when you're not using your muscles. So you've probably got a sort of a schedule by this point of who's doing which bits when, I guess. Like, somebody will do the treadmill first, somebody will do the other bits first. And again, that's a couple of hours of your time, which takes you up to lunch, sort of working around the different things that you've got there. So throughout the day, you've got this kind of building sense of anticipation, because you are aware that today you will begin your week-long handover to the replacement researchers coming up to the station. So you're expecting them hopefully sometime between lunch and dinner, depending on how long it takes them to catch up to the station in its orbit. So that they set off yesterday and reached orbit after sort of 2 hours, but then have been there's this kind of dance that goes on where you kind of, because you're traveling at some ridiculous speed around the Earth, so there's a thing of them trying to sort of catch you up and dock. So you're hopefully expecting them sometime between lunch and dinner. So you're kind of waiting on a transmission from base to advise you that they're sort of 15 minutes away from docking. They will be bringing with them festive rations for a Christmas dinner, as well as written correspondence from loved ones, status reports from base, and potentially some things that you may have requested. So if you've sort of asked for magazines or books or something to last you the week before you get home, then they should also be coming with your replacements. So there's that kind of building thing throughout the day of, normally you just kind of plod through your days, but today potentially you're sort of, looking forward to something later in the day. So it's probably making the day pass a little slower than it otherwise would, actually. So you finish with your exercises and lunch at midday. Again, more rations. Anybody sort of looking out of the viewing area again, potentially if Olivia is there. You are always treated every day with, just a wonderful, wonderful view of the planet and the stars, and sometimes the moon and the sun, depending on where you are in the orbit and where they are.
Olivia definitely has a habit of spending quite a lot of time in the viewing window, but she's also aware that she might be hogging it, so she's inevitably immediately moves if someone comes up behind her awkwardly, like, I'm sorry, I'm always here, aren't I? Feeling like she's probably blocking the view for everyone else. She also has a very small succulent plant in the window, which she incessantly takes care of, called Harold.
Nice.
Is Harold also part of one of her experiments by any
No,
chance?
Harold is just her favorite succulent plant she brought up to keep her company. Separate, life and work sort of thing.
So you have lunch. 1 p.m. rolls around, which is the beginning of your proper work time. Basically, you're experimenting. So, Sam, what do you have a bit more specifics on sort of what Olivia might be doing throughout the day?
Sure. So I imagine since we're towards the end of the 6 months and kind of we're handing over soon, I feel like Olivia's probably kind of in the process of wrapping up a lot of experiments. So I think a lot of our experiments will probably be around like micro growth, looking at how they kind of grow in kind of 3D space with zero gravity, and also in the atmosphere of the space station, kind of in artificially maintained atmospheres. So she's kind of dealing with maybe deliberately kind of killing off some of those that aren't going to be continued as experiments, and then kind of not packing up, but kind of making it so that the person who's taking over can deal with the next step of that experiment. I was also thinking about what other creatures she might have on board. I think she's probably got a few mice on board as well, who are like in a little cage. So she's kind of getting them ready to go back down to Earth, because in this case they're coming back down because Olivia was insistent that they come back down rather than are terminated in space, because they needed to be studied back on Earth. It's very important. So she's getting them ready as well, kind of making sure, I mean, I know it's a week away, but kind of making sure that the experiments with them are moving, kind of coming to a head, and checking their, there is one that she had to kill the other day, unfortunately, to check on its physiology, but that's for the pursuit of science, so that makes perfect logical sense. So she's kind of cleaning up that kind of dissection that she was finishing off the other day as well, perhaps. Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to make me roll biology, I suppose? Is that your...
Yeah, biology is my thing. Yep.
You've got there, yeah.
That's the wrong scroll. That one. There we go. Yep, that's success. It's a good job I got high biology, because that's an 80.
Again, you get probably a couple of your experiments that you're closing off. You're very happy with the results of, in terms of they are either what you expected or what you would hoped the case would be, in terms of, you know, sort of progressing the field. These are unique outcomes that other people haven't sort of got this information. So you've got a unique contribution to the field here. And you're going to be able to go back down and, you know, write your papers about this stuff and really feel like you've achieved something in the time that you've spent up here away from your family. And it's really feeling worth it at this point. So gain a sanity.
Oh, yeah. I feel like at the moment of that kind of realization, a quiet squeal echoes throughout the station, followed soon after by a short, sorry, everything's fine. I was also going to say maybe because was it Din who was kind of the backup help person rather than doing their own experiments? I imagine, Din, I've kind of partly enlisted you for maybe an hour or so, and you were hoping to be doing something interesting. You're actually helping just clean like petri dishes and other like 3D growth media, and I'm just like, oh, just give this a good scrub, okay? Make sure it's nice and sterile.
I'm in space doing the washing up. It's just what I wanted as a child.
One sanity, yay.
Steve.
Right. Yeah, so I will be... The experiments I've been doing have been things like sort of monitoring levels of cosmic radiation, sort of identifying inbound particles, that sort of thing, over the 6 months. Also, maybe, I don't know, refraction, checking for levels of space, dust, and debris. There's also this bit of an esoteric experiment that somebody, obviously somewhere, has paid rather too much money to have sent up to the station. And it's this, I don't know what to make of it. It's this ridiculous, part of it looks really old, like dating back to the 1920s. It's been sort of, there have been various bits added onto it. It's like a series of lenses or filters or, I don't know, polarizing bits and pieces. And I've been trying to perform the stated experiments on it, but in my head, there is no possible way that it can have any function. It kind of requires, it can only work in a situation where you could have 4 orthogonal planes, and it's just ridiculous. You can't have that in this universe. So, but I'm doing the work, you know. I'm doing what they've asked me to. But yes, that to me is just a dead bust.
Yeah. For your other experiments, do you want to make me a roll on your science?
This will be physics, I guess. 39 out of 60. So yes, that is a pass.
Cool. Again, you can gain a sanity, and Din can gain one as well by virtue of having been involved in all of these incredibly successful things and being.
I was
happy with
definitely
that.
sharing how exciting the stuff that I
So-
was discovering was with you. By the way, this
Yeah,
weird this weird experiment that Cam has got, the strange thing. We've all seen it, have we? Or is that something that is kind of?
Oh yeah, you'll have seen it. I'll
Okay.
have grumbled about it on a number of occasions and sort of gone on about how.
I was just wondering. I feel like that might have been a topic of conversation. Okay, cool. Just curious.
So again, Cam has sort of collected some data that is, again, unique in some way to the field, and feels confident that he can go away and write it up and have made a unique contribution that he's sort of proud to put forward when he gets home, and again makes it feel like the time up here has been worthwhile, which is what you want when you've been locked in with 3 other people in space for 6 months, I suppose, for a particular purpose. If you went home feeling like you hadn't achieved what you went to achieve, it would probably be incredibly disheartening. So you're not at that stage. And then at around 3:45, you hear a beep, 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 which you know to be sort of an incoming voice transmission from base.
I will gladly take the excuse to stop doing the washing up and turn on voice comms. Base, this is UK Orb.
Good afternoon, and well, Merry Christmas. Just to let you know that your replacement should be with you in the next 15 minutes. We've sent lots of nice things up there for you. Really hoping that you have a really, really enjoyable Christmas day. I know it's not as good as the next one will be, back with your friends and family, but yeah, we've sent you some, well, I don't want to say tasty rations, but
I hope you put some
festive
crackers in
ration.
there. If I don't get my paper crowns party hats, then I'm going to be disappointed.
We've put deconstructed crackers in there. We weren't sure about the gunpowder element of the bang of the cracker on a space station.
That's only half the fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry about that. So yeah, they'll be with you shortly, and we really hope that
Base, your signal's lost.
Oh,
Repeat last transmission.
Yeah, it'll be that we.
Shit. Can I check the signal?
Yes, you can do some diagnostics.
It could just be StreamYard playing up.
Is the station's probably small enough that we can kind of hear what's going on anywhere, really, can't we? Unless there's a door shut between.
As long as you're not closed in somewhere, yeah. If everything's open and flowing, it'll sort of rattle around the station.
Yeah. So Olivia will probably, in a moment, make her way over, having heard this. I imagine others will too. Yeah.
Would this be a computer or a mechanical repair for?
We'll do computer. Yeah, you'll do some sort of diagnostics stuff that's not mechanical first.
Is assisting a thing you can do in Cthulhu? I forget.
I don't think we've ever done that.
No, we've never helped each other in Call of Cthulhu.
Ever.
I don't. In this case, it won't really make much of a difference.
Sure.
I fail quite a lot, so I will. Who is it that normally does tech support?
possibly. So I've got some in computer use, about 40.
Cam.
So.
I've got 56, so I can't.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, I'm happy to.
Olivia.
Coming. I'll kind of like float up behind you and have a look then, unless Cam is there first, because Olivia would definitely not intrude.
I'll float over and sort of check the basics. But I get 84, so I can't find. Have you tried turning it off?
It's this one, and then Olivia has a look and succeeds. Thank God. But a 2, cool. I rolled 2 on that.
Oh,
roll.
nice.
So Olivia does not notice anything wrong with your side of this. There are obviously a number of possible points of failure along this communication route. Mm-hmm. There could be a software or hardware failure at numerous points. There could also be interference of some kind at any of the points or somewhere between them all.
But
so it's
like
quite
there's nothing wrong on this station.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll relay that, and I'll say, well, I don't think there's anything wrong on our end. Certainly, software seems to be functioning as expected, and the dish is picking up as you'd hope. Something down there, but that's a bit odd, isn't it?
Well, they did outsource the maintenance of the transmitters down there, so.
Yeah, but you'd hope this sort of thing shouldn't happen. I mean, it hasn't happened before while we've been up here, I don't think, has it?
You can't remember a time that it's occurred.
As part of that check, can I try basically refreshing the connection to try and reopen? As in they get a ping from their end that we're calling them, sort of thing.
You can give that a go. Mm-hmm. It does not.
Okay. No. I don't think it's going through at all. Something on their end, I guess.
Could it be weather conditions? Is there what's the weather over?
Look out the window.
UK at the moment, yeah.
Although it depends if we're floating over that side of the world, I suppose.
I'm going to guess it's raining and cold.
Always the optimist in.
That's playing the odds, isn't it?
It's December in Britain, so yeah.
Sometimes there's some things I don't miss.
Right. Well, we'll wait for them to fix whatever's going on their end, but we're getting guests in 15 minutes. So, roll out the red carpets and put out the good china.
I'll go get some drinks ready then, shall I? I'll go get some bags of drinks out of the cupboard.
Is there anything like sort of local radar or proximity? Is there anything like I don't know what?
Yeah, you have proximity sensors, which will reach a reasonable way, because obviously you want to be aware if there is something kind of coming towards you, cosmic bodies, as it were, heading your way, because you do have thrusters to a degree, which are used to maintain the orbit as well at times. So you can make slight adjustments to your trajectory if needs be to prevent collisions.
Seems a very appropriate way to say that, Jonny. Thrusters to a degree.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yes, you have, after about, if you're keeping an eye on that, after about 5 minutes, you get something sort of at the edge of this is picked up and slowly moves towards you. Obviously, it's not slowly moving, but neither are you. So in relative terms, it's kind of creeping towards you, but at about 1,700 miles an hour or whatever speed you're actually going at in orbit. So
Olivia will
Yeah.
probably stay on the kind of comms console or whatever we were on just now and continue to try and get connection, given that seems pretty critical. So she'll keep trying to kind of occasionally, not desperately, but every like minute or so, try and redo the connection to see if they pick up on their end or if anything's coming through. It'll just let me know if anything changes, I guess.
Would we expect any direct communication with them, with the kind of incoming ship at this point, or
what was that? Sorry, Matt.
So would we kind of expect any direct communication with them, or just the note from base is kind of enough to that we're fairly comfortable?
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be like, aside from that communication, you wouldn't necessarily be expecting any more. It's only because it's cut off partway through, or seemingly cut off partway through, that you might feel there is an issue. If that had ended normally, you wouldn't, if you didn't hear anything until the next day or whatever, you wouldn't necessarily think there was anything wrong. So yeah, there's no sort of concern with the other vehicle sort of docking with you. You wouldn't necessarily need anything from base to facilitate that.
Is the other vehicle presumably going to have their own radio communication? Not necessarily to us, but back to base?
Yes, they do.
That's fine.
Yeah, the one that you came on did. So you would presume that they're going to be in the same model of shuttle, probably, that you came up in.
That's the point as well. The station will have communication, but the shuttle will have its own independent communication that we have on the ship. So can I go to that and check? I'm already confident the station doesn't have a problem with it, but it would be a standard backup procedure, I'd imagine, to go and try the communication.
You want to go onto your shuttle and check that?
To check if that communicator is working instead.
Yep,
I know what the answer is going to be. I just want to do it, that's what.
What do you mean you know what the answer is going to be, Sam?
It's going to be fine. They'll get back communication. I'm sure.
Exactly.
I'll go and see if any communications come through on there and then try picking from there too.
Sure. No, you cannot establish a connection to base.
Okay. I am not surprised. Olivia is slightly surprised. I think I'll probably just kind of say to others who can hear me, no luck on the shuttle either.
I'll be calling out sort of, distance, proximity distance for the craft coming in, reading out readings or things like that. I don't know whether we can get a visual from the docking port itself. I don't know whether there's like a small. There's probably some.
Yeah, you can get a visual. Yeah, you actually have. There's cameras set up for
cool.
for this as well. So you have a small monitor, which you can get visual from. If you're sort of dealing with this, Steve, can you make a roll on?
That was a nice one.
I mean, surely it's going to be pilot, right? It's space station movie.
Well, as long as it's not spot hidden or library use.
I'm gonna say pilot. I think what I basically want is your knowledge of the procedures for this situation.
Sure. I mean, I feel like
it comes under pilot.
Cam was in charge of that, probably, right? So that would make sense.
Oops. Yes, 55 out of 70, so pass.
Okay. You would have expected to have heard from them by now, with how close they've got to you.
Okay, via some sort of local link, direct.
Yeah, like a radio transmission from them to you by this point. You did when you docked with the previous group.
Olivia, can you try hailing them? We've not heard anything yet.
Sure,
pretty close.
There's nothing wrong from us, I think, so that should be fine. I'll attempt to ping them.
Yeah. Do you want to? Yeah, just because it's a new connection and stuff. So it's configuration.
Oh, 89. That's not going to do it.
Okay. You attempt and you get a bit of a crackle at one point, but you don't manage to establish a solid link with them.
I'll probably just say, sorry, I'm having a bit of a pain changing the signal from down there to the shuttle. It was meant to be them pinging us. Wasn't really ready for that, sorry. But as I say, I don't think there's anything wrong with ours, so if they send a message, we should get it.
Yeah.
I don't suppose there are any solar flares or anything we haven't noticed.
Don't
those things usually mess with transmissions?
They certainly would, yes. I don't know whether that would be something I'd have been... I guess it sort of falls within the wheelhouse of my experiments. So whether I'd have an idea of like the solar weather forecast.
Give me a roll on your physics, but it's going to be a hard.
Okay. No, that was 59, and I'd have had to have rolled under 30 for.
Okay, so you would be aware though that at the back end of 2020, one group of scientists came up with a method to kind of relatively accurately be able to tell if there was a solar flare coming, but only within sort of a day of when it was coming. So it's still relatively new news. And you do look at those things probably, I think, while you're up there and sort of go, oh, I wonder if this means that this is going to happen. But you haven't suspected that something is going to happen today. But that doesn't mean that it isn't, because that it's not your specialty, and it is still quite a new and specialized field within the field. So it is possible.
Yeah. So I'll reply back. Yep. Could be done, but I'm not sure. Not certain.
Cam, if we don't get any ping or anything from them, there's nothing dangerous about the docking, right?
Well, as long as they're following the procedures, it doesn't look like they're approaching too fast.
It's something that's definitely doable. It's not an ideal situation, but everybody is trained on sort of fringe cases where things can go wrong. So people have to be aware of how to deal with things in those situations. So you're relatively confident that you think you could do it. Cam thinks that he could do it if it were necessary. It just relies on your team also sort of doing the bits on your side, kind of preempting, the clamping and stuff that's necessary without having radio contact.
Would we be expected to do anything different in terms of our own safety? Just wondering whether we would prepare for like a less than smooth docking in some way. Maybe Eric would be kind of, I don't know, strapping anything in that might judder equipment, etc. Just
you might want to prepare for a bit more of a bump than.
Yeah.
Cool. So a couple more minutes pass. You still haven't had any contact from them, and you think that there is probably a minute and a half until they will be in contact with you. As far as you are concerned, they look to be on course and at the correct speed. So you don't kind of, things probably run through your head of maybe something's gone wrong on board there, but you don't think that it has, because this seems to be, pretty correct in the way that they're heading in here.
So the only thing we're missing is a radio communication from them.
Yeah. And you've also lost radio communication to base, so that doesn't necessarily seem out of sorts with that.
Nonetheless, still a little bit sweating now.
So, Steve, can you make me another pilot roll for Cam? just to deal with this docking.
I rolled 50, so that's a success.
I don't normally report my actual roll results, but I rolled a 1 from my side for.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's the best.
I mean,
the
from
best
our
roll
point of
you
view.
can have.
Yeah, unless there's some sort of elder being
Yeah.
on the shuttle. Don't, no.
So, the docking completes, and there is a small judder as it initially connects with the docking port on the station, but that's it. And you couldn't really imagine it having gone much more smoothly. And you hear sort of shuffling on the other side of the dock, and unless you have opened it, you hear a sort of clanging on there of a sort of knocking rhythm.
Eric's gonna kind of look briefly at everybody. It's like, they hit an issue in there.
I'll open the door. We'll find out.
Comms are down, then what other way is there but knock? I'll open the door.
Okay, you open the door and you see 3 people in full astronaut suits, as you would expect for the travel up here. Helmets, visors down, the full lot. And carrying 2 of them, between them are carrying a large box, which you presume will be the supplies and things that they've brought up here for your team as well. And they walk in and set the box down, and presumably somebody closes the airlock door for the.
Were we expecting 3 of them?
Yeah, presumably that's exactly what we were expecting.
Yes, you were expecting 3. Yeah.
Then yeah, I'll close the door.
Olivia is waving over friendly.
And once the door is closed, they remove their helmets, and you see 2 men and a woman, and can you all make me rolls that I should have decided on earlier?
I'm sure you just do this to raise the tension levels. Well,
yeah, I mean, the context of the role could mean so much different, you know? If it was like, give me a, I don't know.
Jump roll.
Yeah. Cthulhu Mythos roll at this point, that would be somewhat
worrying. Oh,
wow. Actually, no, I won't have you make a roll. So you see 1 man you think is probably in his 30s, and the other man and the woman are, you would guess, in their late 50s or early 60s. And in fact, yeah, make me a spot hidden roll, everybody, please.
Have we been told who is replacing us? I mean, we might not know them picked by person, as in we've met them before, but we know their names and stuff. Or
You've
is
been
maybe
given
not?
their names and sort of their credentials and specialities and that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. But we don't know who they are personally.
I rolled a 91. That's a fail for me.
Rolled a 93.
Wow, I rolled a 96.
I rolled a 20. Yay! I
Okay.
can't spot him.
That's fine. Olivia, while noticing their ages, also notices that the man and the woman who seem older than the other guy, while it's difficult to describe, but while looking older, they also have something sort of ageless about their faces. So it's almost as if maybe they give off an air of an older age, and the guy's sort of salt and pepper hair and stuff, but actually does his face look like somebody who is the age that the rest of him portrays?
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure. You kind of like, having to give them a second look, and something just kind of doesn't sit quite right with that for you. And as they all take their helmets off, they all give you quite a big smile and kind of work their way around, introducing themselves. So the guy says, Jeremy Holden. Nice to meet you all. The other guy's Nathan Robinson. And the woman says, Rebecca Jones. Nice to meet you all.
I think Olivia is already slightly awkward in meeting new people, and given the situation of having noticed the slightly strangeness of the two older ones, is particularly awkward and maybe kind of just mumbles her name, unlike everyone else. In fact, I feel like the others might notice that Olivia is conspicuously a bit funny, particularly probably Eric.
I think in response to that, Eric is going to slightly overcompensate and go in very, very strong with everyone. Hi, folks. How was the trip? How was the trip? So you brought my takeaway. Thank you very much. Tapping the box.
Yes, the journey up was fine, thank you. Says Jeremy. All went reasonably as planned, although I think there may have been some kind of solar flare. We had a successful communication with base, and then left a few minutes as they said they were contacting you, and then we couldn't get in contact with you to arrange docking. But whoever on here was responsible for that, bloody good job.
No, that'll be our expert Cam over there. But yeah, base managed to get through to us and then lost the signal over a couple of minutes.
Yes, they said they did say when they were onto us that they just received word that there may be a solar flare coming, quite a big one, I think. So comms may be out for a little while. Hopefully we can still get in touch with people tomorrow and wish them a happy Christmas.
Which one of them? Sorry.
I was going to say, if not, we've got hopefully plenty of turkey to last us.
Olivia, which one of them is going to be which one of them is a biologist? Because if we have their kind of things and they've now introduced their names, I guess I would know.
So Rebecca will be sort of your replacement.
Okay.
Nathan will be Cam's replacement, and also has a medical background, which is why there are only 3 of them. And Jeremy will be taking over from Eric as a sort of, it's not exactly the same research, but similar enough to sort of swap out.
I think Olivia will probably not say much at this point. She's still a bit weirded out.
Jeremy says, well, if you don't mind, we've been sat in that shuttle for I think over a day now. do you mind if we, clean ourselves up a little? And I'm sure we've interrupted your afternoon experiments, so perhaps we should reconvene at dinner.
Absolutely. Would you like me to put this somewhere? Sort of indicated in the box.
No, we'll get that. We have a number of personal articles in here, so I'll take those and distribute later. Thank you, though. Eric, was it?
Yes, Eric and Jeremy.
I'm
Sorry.
Very interested in your research, Eric. I've been reading all about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to share this with you. You're the sleep environments guy, right? I think I've read a few of your papers.
Yes, and I've started to take a bit more of an interest in how isolation affects people, and obviously this is a perfect setting for that.
While that conversation was kind of going on and stuff was being shifted, I might just go, Din, could you just help me out with checking the communications for a second? And I'll kind of just gesture over away.
Of course.
And then I'll kind of move away, and then maybe, if you follow me, just kind of make a point to go somewhere kind of at the other end of the station, and then maybe just kind of close the door a little bit. Maybe not completely, so I make it really obvious, but just so sound won't travel so easily.
Okay.
And then probably when you give me a funny look, I will talk quietly.
I will not give you a funny look for it.
Yeah, making sure they can't hear me. Did you hear? Johnny? Which one of the? I don't know which one it was that said it. Was it Nathan that said? I think it was Nathan that said the communications problem they've been having on the way up.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you hear Nathan said that Base had mentioned a solar flare potentially, but they got in touch with us after talking to them just before the communications went down. The first thing they would have said would have been the solar flare protocol. That's exactly how that would have gone, but they never mentioned a word to us. That's very odd, don't you think?
It is.
I mean, that's potentially a mission critical dangerous circumstance, right? I mean, I don't know why he would have said it, and then they wouldn't have told us.
They would have pre-warned us.
You don't think they looked a bit weird?
No more weird than 3 humans in space look.
You're probably right, sir.
What kind of weird?
I think I'm just all this communications and everything has got me. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. But
Olivia, what kind of weird?
It's nothing. And then Olivia will make a point to move away from this conversation.
All right.
And then kind of just busy myself with helping move stuff again after that, I think.
Well, by the time you get back to where you were, they've headed off to sort of clean themselves up and sort their belongings out that they've brought with them and all that kind of stuff. So you would expect to return to your sort of research post for probably another couple of hours, potentially, while they're sorting things out. Okay.
If they don't need any more help, then I will thoroughly busy myself in my projects again for a while, trying not to think about things too much, but probably not able not to. You know what I mean?
I will go back to quietly, but keeping an eye on Olivia, pottering around her lab, helping her tidy things up, and doing the washing up like I was told.
Olivia does look quite flustered, but she doesn't say anything more unless you really press her.
Nope.
Cool. So you spend another couple of hours on your experiments, and you get to dinner time. by which point the group have brought some extra rations out. Not the Christmas dinner yet, but some fresh things that you haven't had on, well, not fresh, new things that you haven't had on board. Sort of different set of rations to what you've been used to, which a change is as good as a rest, or whatever they say.
Fresh is a cool teasing word when you're on a space station, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, you enjoy this meal more than you've probably enjoyed anything that you've had on here for the last few months. And the group chat to you about sort of your research over the last few months, and how you've been getting on up here, what it's been like to be on a space station for 6 months. The kind of things that you would expect at the beginning of a handover from something this extreme.
Olivia is still conspicuously kind of quiet, although she doesn't look quite so flustered anymore.
I think I'm keeping part of an eye on Olivia, but I'm trying to figure out what could possibly be weird about these people. Because as far as I'm concerned, they just look like normal people. But Olivia has construed something as strange.
So the question is, do either of Simon or Eric notice Mark or Olivia looking at people strangely?
Do you want to guess while Johnny's gone? There's going to be a spot hidden.
Well, I'll see whether Johnny's... How's that?
No, I'm in a different place.
Oh no, we can sort that. We can sort that. There we go.
That's better.
Yeah, that was good, Johnny. I think you're good now.
Strange.
Solar flare.
Solar flare. Yeah, so they seem relatively pleasant in their communications with you, as much as they're quite obviously quite tired from the amount of time that they've spent traveling here, and at least 2 of them will have been awake at any given time if one of them was able to sleep. So they've been there's a good possibility that a couple of them maybe jet lagged almost from sort of weird time things of now being here, having slept at a funny time, and so they all sort of make their excuses after dinner and plan to go for a nap, if not to sleep through the night.
I think Eric would try and catch Jeremy briefly before he heads off, and just kind of suggest to him that basically the cocktail of melatonin and various other things that he's tried has worked very well, and if he wants to get involved for the nap,
here, try this.
But we'll kind of more like leading him to the lab and saying, look what I've got here, and talking him through it. But if he offers and then gets the sense that he's not interested, he'll just back off.
Wow, this is some really, really interesting work. Perhaps in a couple of hours, if I'm struggling, I'll come and speak to you, Eric.
Sounds good. Slightly
at this point, I'm not sure that I'm not sure I will be struggling, I'm afraid to say, to get some sleep at this point.
I have a great image of every time anyone yawns on this space station, Eric has got a notebook.
Just so excited about sleep.
Din has perfected the closed mouth poker face yawn for exactly that reason.
Eric spots that a mile off.
Jeremy says, "Oh, forgive me, I've forgotten to give you correspondence." And you all feel kind of an internal leap as you you probably all got people that you're expecting maybe Christmas cards from and that kind of thing, letters. And he goes into the quarters where he and Nathan are going to be sleeping, opens the sort of box crate and gets a relatively large pile of papers out, and sort of pushes himself over to the table where you've been eating, and places them down on there and puts, like, you've got some sort of weighted things to hold things down. So he puts that on top of there.
Bunches or something,
yeah. And says, well, hopefully I'll be asleep in a few moments, but, well, if you need anything, if you have any questions about anything, the journey or anything, please do give us a shout. And
Sweet
he
dreams.
heads off. Nathan's already in there and is turned away from the door, and you think probably asleep.
Was as the two only female crew, am I sleeping with, was it Rebecca, her name? If I remember right.
Yes.
She has got there are enough cabins for her to have her own.
Got it. Cool.
Which she has taken. So you're at about probably 7 p.m. I think at this point. You're basically on free time before you go to bed at normally about 9:30. So you've got a good couple of hours.
Well, I think at least one of us should try pinging UK base every so often.
Sure, I'll go have a go now. It's a good idea. I'll go make another computers roll, shall I?
Yes, yeah.
All zeros is 100, correct?
Oh,
yes.
I rolled 100. Do I break the computer?
You don't break the computer.
This hammer doesn't seem to be working so well today.
You basically struggle to get even the beginnings of a connection to anywhere.
Yeah. Given that it was 100, I'd probably say to someone, I'm not really sure this is going in today. Sorry, I think I'm a bit distracted. And then I probably just kind of wave away the computer and immediately just go to my room or something without having even tried to make communication.
Eric?
Yeah, I can have a go. Is she okay?
I don't know. I don't know if the end of shift is getting to her. She seemed a little weirded out by our guests.
It's been 6 months since we've seen anyone but these faces, so...
She's always a bit flighty with people.
Let's go. We can give her a minute. So I guess Eric is going to go and try and ping base.
Yeah, give me a computer roll.
Okie dokie. It's a 10, so I'm good.
Okay. You are 100% sure that you have done everything right, but you get no response. So the way that it works is there are sort of numerous things that sort of tell you where the fault is, basically, if you can't get a connection, and basically you can't reach them is basically how it comes across to you.
Okay. Still an issue at their side. This is quite a while though. Is there like a backup system or something that you might try in this scenario? I don't know.
Only really using the shuttle's comms array, which is what Olivia did earlier.
It's definitely not our problem. So I'm not sure it's going to make any difference trying the shuttle. I'll just check again in 10 minutes or so. I mean, I don't know how long we would expect this to knock them out.
I guess flares can last for quite a few hours. If it is a solar flare, then
yeah, I guess so. There's that weather we were talking about.
Well, the station's in good shape. We can hang on. We've got things to be doing.
Eric's definitely keen to dish out the correspondence if that's possible. I don't know whether it's kind of out.
Yeah. So Eric picks up the pile, kind of leafs through it initially to sort out what's for who. And it becomes clear, increasingly more clear as you go through the pile, that all that there is here is sort of status reports from base. There is no personal correspondence here. And can you make me a sanity roll for Eric upon that realization, please?
Okay, so I got 61. So I rolled a 72. That's a fail.
Okay, lose a sanity, please.
Okay.
Presumably, it's all like
that good mood from
together.
the start of the day is now
Proper
gone.
mood killer.
So is that like in a package together? So sorry, I'm not there. I'm just curious. Is it in a package together so that is everything that was sent up? There's no real question of that.
Yeah.
That's why it's so.
Yeah.
And they were explicit about the fact that this was the correspondence, right? It's not like I picked up the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Eric kind of has a bit of a wry smile and laughs as he's flicking through. And then as he kind of reaches the end of it, it changes from a smile to sort of quite a serious look. And then he almost looks kind of visibly angry by the end.
What's up, Eric?
I don't know if this is some kind of joke, but this is just reports. Nothing here for us. I thought they maybe put them at the front for a bit of a joke, but there's the whole thing. There's nothing in here for us. Have I missed something?
Can everyone else make a sanity roll as well, please?
Not yet. I'm in my room. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Can't
Keep the
delay
door
it,
locked.
Sam.
Stay in there.
That's fail.
That's a pass.
Okay, just one sanity loss for Din, John.
Well,
That's
is there anything on the? This is to Johnny. Sorry. Is there anything on the reports that looks? Do they look? They look like reports. They're just standard. There's nothing suspicious about them, other than they're not what we were told they were. Yeah. What are we supposed to do with this?
It's probably just it's a joke. It'll be a prank.
someone at base forgot to pack them.
Mate,
Come on, it'll be a week before you get your Christmas cards, Eric. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
What,
suppose you're right.
you worried about parking tickets?
No, I just said, yeah, I was looking forward to these.
I get that.
It's fine. He's gonna just kind of pop them down and.
We can ask them tomorrow. They can.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go finish up what I was doing. Be back in a moment. And he kind of heads off to his lab.
Sure.
I think I'll float over to the observation window and look out at the Earth.
I'll flick through the reports. Just see if there's anything new in them that we aren't aware of. Despite being here.
Yeah, it's all pretty standard stuff that you would expect to come from base, including a weather forecast for what will be your re-entry day, and things like that. So sort of preparatory things for your return, as well as that kind of stuff, which gives you sort of a small beacon of light after having had a little bit of upset from something. You read these and you kind of, as you've said to Eric, it's not too far away now that you'll be back.
Is there anything in them about a solar flare?
No, although that's not surprising considering they set off before anybody was aware of it.
Makes sense.
Steve, can you make me a spot hidden roll for Cam, please?
I'm so regretting not pumping points into spot hidden.
It's the most important skill.
I know. But this time I make it 22 out of 25. Yes.
Cool. As you are looking out,
oh, hang on, is that good?
You see something that looks like it's maybe in orbit. You shouldn't be anywhere near the ISS, as far as you're aware. So it's a reasonable way away, but not not a million miles away from where you are. And then you hear a beep, beep. Not the comms array. Your proximity sensors.
Crap. I will yell proximity and head over to the sensors and figure out what it is and where it is.
Immediately coming out of room at proximity.
Not Musk again, is it?
Bloody Tesla.
So, looking at your proximity system, or proximity detection system, this, whatever it is, you get flashbacks to sort of 3.5 hours ago when this shuttle was coming to dock with your station.
Oh dear. And it right, does it look like it's coming in to dock? Is it on the same approach?
It seems to be on the same sort of approach path and a very similar speed to what you would expect a docking thing to come in at. You do have 3 docking stations.
Okay,
so
I was going to ask. Yeah,
it is a possibility, but you are not expecting someone else.
Assuming the beep was heard, and I mean that would be weird. I'd probably basically straight away behind you. I imagine others might be as well. Just be like, "What's going on, Cam?"
There's another vehicle coming on a docking course.
What?
Look,
just get people stopping by like it's a diner. We're in space.
It's like buses.
That can't be right.
Do we even have another docking port?
Yes, you do.
Good. Okay.
but nothing. These are scheduled. They have to launch. They can't just.
They don't just turn up.
Are you sure this isn't just a machine malfunction, Cam?
I saw it out of the window.
Immediately going to go to the window and have a look myself if I hear Cam say that then.
Yeah, after a little bit of sort of eye adjustment and being able to see something kind of, alongside the Earth, you spot this.
Just a speck, basically, I imagine. Okay. I'll come out nodding, slightly pale-faced, and just say, we should wake the others, whatever's going on. Olivia doesn't make a move to go do it, though.
Right. Do I have an idea of how long it is, the ETA on this craft coming in?
once it's hit your proximity sensors, probably 10 minutes.
Right. Then I'm going to start. I'll have to start doing prep on the spare docking port, I guess. Eric, Din, can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
Go wake them up.
Jonny, presumably, there's protocols for everything like this. Something like a spacecraft suddenly coming to dock is completely and utterly outside of protocols and would be really unprecedented, because that would be very dangerous, you would assume. Is this sort of thing that would only happen if there's been an emergency in some other launch? That could be the sort of thing you could expect it? Or is it like there's any potential that it could go on?
Yeah, it's not really covered. And also you would expect anything passing anywhere reasonably nearby to have audio contact with you. Obviously, that is not a possibility at the moment. Yeah. So you have no way of sort of figuring out who this might be.
Did we all eat the same meal? Is this a hallucination? Eric, is this one of your experiments?
I can't take the credit for this one.
Look, it's probably just something's happened at some other launch and they need to... it's like an emergency dock or something. Is it exactly the same trajectory, Cam?
I'll check. I'll check. Is it aiming for the occupied port, or is it aiming for... Can I tell?
And did it come from the same trajectory?
You can't tell at this point what port it's aiming for, because of the distance currently, and that's sort of, because they're not enormously far apart, so that's a kind of relatively last minute adjustment to actually get it to that specific area. But, yeah, I mean, again, as you check it's coming in at a docking speed.
While that discussion's going on, Eric's going to quickly do the rounds and wake up the other guys.
Yeah, they all kind of on first waking. Jeremy, he kind of rolls over and has quite an annoyed face, which he then kind of, I think, upon realizing where he is again properly, he kind of that eases, and he
believe it or not, we have visitors.
What? He relatively quickly gets out of bed at this point.
There's another craft. We don't know anything else than that, but please get up. And where's Nathan, Rebecca?
He shakes Nathan up and then heads down and gets Rebecca as well. By which point we are at docking time. So do you want to make a pilot roll again, Steve, for Cam?
When you almost want to fail.
Don't say
that. I've rolled an 11 for mine.
Wow, I rolled 26, so that is a pass.
So slightly more jolty than last time, but still a pretty, for radio silence, still a pretty good docking. So docking complete.
While this has been going on, Olivia is now quietly kind of almost muttering to herself when she's holding a small icon she has around her neck, which is kind of looks very old and is carved of wood and has a little bit of blue paint left on it. And anyone that knows it's a small kind of icon of fish.
Is there a maximum occupancy for the station? Like a point? Like, what is the maximum? Yeah, the maximum occupancy. I can't think of a better way to say that.
Yeah, Cam's getting another pig in a minute.
Because if we normally operate at 4,
low oxygen levels. Also, the queue for the bathroom will be awful.
obviously, you were fine to have 7 on board for a week. So as an emergency stopover, you don't think that there is an issue with, potentially a couple more people. It would depend until you see how many people are here before you may be worried about. If there are 6 people on board, you might think, oh God.
If it's like a clown car, oh my God. Space clowns.
As this is a seeming emergency docking, I'm going to have my emergency medkit with me by the docking door.
I guess other
And-
emergency supplies will be gathered. I'll make a point of getting a fire extinguisher and other things just in case.
I'll open the door.
One figure steps through, kind of stumbling a little. Once the door is closed, takes the helmet off and says, "Thank you, guys. I was sorry, Scott Murray. I was supposed to be shuttling people back from ISS, but I don't know, something. I must have gone off course, but I was sure that I don't know. I've never had anything like it before." And he looks at the your 3 replacements and goes, "Do I know you guys from somewhere? Are you famous or something from the TV or?" And Jeremy says, "No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't think we've met, Mr. Murray, and I'm certainly not famous. I'm not. You must have been in there for quite a long time if you were trying to get to ISS and then have ended up here. Perhaps you need some sleep."
What happened, Mr. Murray? Where were you? You said you were trying to get to ISS. How long have you been off course?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was supposed to take me about 18 hours to get there, and well, I didn't. So
What do you mean,
I mean,
you didn't?
it must. Like I said, I must have been off course. I never saw ISS. I'm not sure what happened.
But nothing was reading in your instruments or anything? It wasn't like there was anything wrong on the trajectory?
No, I'm pretty sure I was on trajectory. I'm not. I think there's been some kind of solar flare. Maybe it came earlier than expected and knocked my instruments off course. I'm not sure.
How the hell did you manage to get here?
I have no idea. I kind of I bounced around a couple of well, they must have been, I guess, low-flying satellites that I saw from a distance, and was hoping that they were. I'd started using my eyes. My instruments weren't getting me there, so and then, well, be honest with you, I'd almost given up. I couldn't get radio contact with anybody, and then I happened to see you fine folks here, and got lucky you weren't another satellite.
That's incredibly lucky. You've got no support crew? Is you just on your own? What?
No, like I say, I was supposed to be heading up there and picking some folks up and sleeping and taking them back down.
So, how long were you on that shuttle?
I guess a day and a half total.
Did you sleep in that time?
No, sir. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been a safe thing to do.
Right, then I think maybe I'm Din, and Eric over here should probably take you over to the med bay and make sure you're all right on your feet, and then maybe get you down for a nap.
Yeah, that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, this way. Have you got anything else with you? Anything you need taking out of your shuttle?
No, I mean, I got some emergency rations. I think that's all I can contribute to this
We'll worry about
society
this later.
that you got going on in here.
It's okay. We're well stocked.
Yeah. Well, the party's getting bigger and bigger, so yeah, let's get you checked up.
Cam, do you want to come with me? Maybe we can take a look at the records, the trajectory, and
Sure, yeah.
the shuttle. I can see if we can figure out what happened. Maybe. I will shoot a glance back at the other three who just arrived. I'm still a bit weirded out by them, just to see if they are having much of a reaction to this situation.
They are all looking a little bleary-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to make a psychology roll if you're
Sure.
looking at their
I won't succeed. They'll have a go. Nope.
Okay. Yeah, they look tired. They look kind of grumpy, but they've been awake for a long time and got woken up sort of 30 minutes into a sleep, so it's probably to be expected.
Cool. I will just head straight through to his shuttle and Scott's shuttle, assuming it seems safe, but I'm guessing it does. It's just...
Yeah, you're fine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wanting to take some readings from...
Yeah, see what it looked like has actually happened, because it sounds like he's a little bit struggling to explain it, understandably.
Cool.
Yeah, and if there are any logs or any records, having a look at those, maybe trying the radio as well.
Okay, so let's do... Yeah, you try and get a radio connection. Again, nothing. In terms of taking sort of logs and readings, his story checks out in terms of sort of the set off time, the amount of time that he's been in the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
You would need to check. You don't have in your head the current sort of bearing of ISS.
Yeah.
So you would need to double check that to see whether the route that he has taken you think should have crossed with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a sort of a log readout, so you would be able to cross check those.
Cool. Yeah. I guess I'll put them on a USB and then go back to the main station and then kind of put them on a laptop and cross-reference these things. Maybe consulting Cam if he's still around and helping out as well, because I'm very curious exactly what happened.
Yeah, cool. So you load those onto a laptop, and as you are sat sort of quietly checking through these things, can you both make a listen roll?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I pass.
I pass with 3.
Take it.
Wow. I didn't even put any points into it.
You each hear a boom, boom, boom on the outside of the hull. And then you're not really sure if you actually did. Can you make sanity rolls, please?
I'll glance over at Olivia and see
It
whether
depends on the
she's
result
kind
of
of...
the sanity roll to how I react.
Oh dear.
I fail.
I also fail.
Okay. Olivia makes Go on.
1 sanity loss each.
Okay, 1, yeah. Olivia makes just a quiet noise.
Did you...
Looks around like that. Probably quite answering your question.
You heard that? What? I'll be looking
I mean,
around trying to place.
I think after a few seconds, kind of just closes his eyes and goes,
Can I float over to the particular kind of direction it came from and kind of just?
Yeah, you think it was actually from kind of above where you are.
What's above us? Is it just like essentially ceiling then space, or is there another module or what?
No, there are no further modules above this central bit.
I think Olivia, having dismissed it entirely and shaking her head and trying to get back in the laptop, will then realize that Cam is specifically looking for something, and then look up again and go, "Did you hear something too?"
Yeah, but it can't.
That wasn't an
It's probably
instrument
just
or machinery or anything that I've heard before.
It's probably just stress from the. We've had 2 vehicles dock with us in a short space of time. It'll be.
You heard exactly what I heard, right? Just then, up there, it sounded like
like
something knocking on the outside. We both heard the same damn thing, Cam. That doesn't happen just through stress.
No, I mean mechanical stress, like shifting of.
That wasn't a mechanical sound. There's something weird going on here. I don't like it.
Eric and Din. Do you want to make well, I guess Din, make a medicine roll for on Scott.
Could I, as I'm more looking for sort of like dehydration and fatigue, could I go for a first aid roll?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. That is a 7. So that's getting ticked.
Woo!
It's a tick.
It's
not letting me tick it. Great.
Yes, he has some of most things that you are looking for, some degree of dehydration and fatigue. And, you think in 24 hours with a good sleep and some food and some water, he'll be in a much better state. You don't think there's no long lasting damage. It's a day and a half, but he's, now he needs some rest and food and drink.
I mean, as long as he's got some pulse, that's a good,
Yeah, that would help. But it's probably like give him some electrolytes and a comfy bed, not like intravenous saline or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks a lot for checking me out, guys. I think I just need a rest. I'm a little spooked by the whole thing.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Wait, is it Christmas yet?
I think that's tomorrow.
Okay. Cool.
We'll tell Santa to be quiet while you're asleep.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, buddy. Is there space, or should I just bed down in a hallway somewhere?
We have a spare. It's not as private as the others, but I'll show you.
Thanks.
So I guess just to possibly something that was formerly used for kind of experimentation, but is perfectly usable in terms of kind of being strapped up and sleeping with an eye mask.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Full of spare plants.
Yes, full of succulents.
Are you both heading there, or is Eric going somewhere? Yeah.
I'll just to see where he beds down, pretty much.
Cool.
I've pretty much done everything I need to do. I guess also kind of to make sure that Eric doesn't also try and hook him up to something, because 36 hours of sleep deprivation sounds like exactly what Eric wants.
Rubbing his hands together. Perfect test subject.
If you pass us, I think Olivia is visibly pale.
Make a note to check that out in a bit.
Cool. Yeah, you get him strapped in, and he's. I think by the time you've properly walked away from him, you kind of turn back and you see his eyes are sort of going already.
If there's anything, not like a drinks holder or like anything that you can store stuff in nearby, I'll put like a couple of rations and a supply of electrolyte water to hand for him.
Before we kind of head back, Eric will kind of just take a moment and look at them and say, "It's taking quite a turn, isn't it?"
Yeah, it's not the straightforward handover we were looking for.
I just have this feeling we're going to be here for longer than we thought.
Don't say that.
Let's check the radio again. The comms again.
All right.
Let's check the post box again. I don't know what it is.
As you head back in, before you get a chance to do that, Jeremy has come out of his bunk and says, Eric, do you have some of whatever it was that you were suggesting? I was asleep and now I'm struggling again.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Not at all. It's nobody's fault.
Yeah, sure. Just come through with me a second. I'll tell you a bit more about it and just make sure it's not going to clash with anything. Are you taking anything at the moment?
No, nothing at all.
Okay. I guess I kind of lead him through to the lab and then rummage about in some drawers and say, so it's not perfect by any means, but I tried it last night. It seemed to work quite well. At least it will give you a few extra hours and hopefully a bit more REM sleep than you might have otherwise gotten. Kind of takes a couple of pills and sort of opens them, mixes it up a little bit, and hands it over with some water.
He says, "Thank you. I'll give myself another 15 minutes and take these if I'm still struggling. I just didn't want to bother you once you'd gone to sleep. So,
yeah, no problem. If you need anything else, I think I'm going to be up for a while.
Thank you." He heads off back.
I'll have gone on to the comm system while Eric went off with Jeffrey.
Okay. Do you want to make a computers roll?
I could try. Ooh, 5.
Nice
success.
So you don't manage to get a connection. You kind of mess around for a little while, and you sort of get to the point where you're like, one more, frequency, and then that's me done. And you twist something the tiniest bit, and you get a and then an incredibly shrill piping sound coming through the radio. And then you feel the station shift and shudder slightly. Is anybody at a point that they can view out of the viewing station?
I was thinking I might well be there at this point. If I've had a look at that kind of trajectory data, that's probably where I would have gone to be next. Usually where I go to calm myself.
So Olivia sort of is knocked slightly to the side as the station judders. Lifts herself back up to get her bearings again. Looks outside, and the sound from the audio transmission cuts off, and there is silence. And Olivia, looking out of the window, sees no stars, no sun, no earth, just black. And that's where we'll leave it for this week.
Olivia screams.
No.
Nobody hears it.
We'll find out in the next session if people hear me or not.
Do we need to make sanity rolls now, or
That'll be next session.
We'll do them at the start of the next session.
Keep
Yeah.
the drama.
I'm
Olivia's
sure
going
we
to
won't
scream either
forget.
way, regardless of the results of that sanity roll. I think it's just how long she keeps screaming that might be.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, a moment or a day. We'll see.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks everybody for watching. Sorry about the minor technical issues, solar flare. And thank you, Steve, John, and Matt, and Sam for taking part. If anybody has any questions or comments, pop them in the chat. We'll do a little quick thing with answering those. No Simba Room this week on Wednesday, but Werewolf on Thursday, and then this again next Monday. I've enjoyed this. I hope everybody else has enjoyed this. Tentacles in space. Yeah. Thanks, Malice, for tuning in. Yeah, it's been fun. I need to write the second half now.
Oh, wow.
I knew it would be creepy, but I'm really impressed by how creepy it is, because a space station is just such a perfect environment for like that total lack of control of your situation is really unsettling when you actually get into it, isn't it?
There's nothing more festive than Call of Cthulhu on a space station at Christmas. It's true. That's what I thought.
It's yeah.
I think I wasn't necessarily going to make it. I wasn't necessarily going to make it festive when I first planned, because I've been planning to do something like this for like a couple of months in the Discord. We've been chatting about it occasionally, and then I think John said, "Is it going to be festive?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? It's Christmas." Christmas has to be pivotal to the plot for it to be a Christmas movie, right?
Or it has to be set in winter, and
Yeah.
we're in space, so it can't be winter.
Yeah.
I did like these when it came to the knocking.
Yes. Here to tell you about our Lord and Savior Cthulhu. Thanks, Sauerkraut Kid.
That one as well.
Malice, here to talk to you about Mego insurance for your shuttle.
These people will stop at nothing.
Very good, very good.
I feel like I owe it to the Mego to have them actually appear properly in something at some point, as opposed to just a leg peeking through a canvas doorway. Oh yeah, better not turn out to be bagpipes, or I'll be very upset. That's from our Scottish viewer.
Could be House of Atreides, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'd be happy. House of Atreides would be a plus at this point. Steve's knowledge of Cthulhu is there are alarm bells going off. I am concerned.
I'm always kind of glad I don't have very much knowledge of Cthulhu whenever in these things. I feel like I'd be even more scared than I already am for my character, just by that extra knowledge. I'm not sure I could take that.
We should thank Nightbites as well for resubscribing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Nightbites. I spotted as well just some guy TN. It's the first time in chat, so thanks for joining us.
And a follow from them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and a follow. Thank you.
Yep.
What a lot of fun this has been.
It's been great.
So much fun. This has been really good. I'm really enjoying this.
We've also had a follow from Call at some point in the last day. So if you watch
Thank
this
you.
at any point, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
there we go.
Sam always wants his personal Cthulhu Mythos score to stay low.
It's a deliberate strategy. I think it's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
means your sanity is always as high as it can go.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect with this one because it's like, yes, it's fairly last minute, fairly off the cuff, and in space. So yeah, it's definitely there's a definite extra element of the unexpected. It's
I just love the idea of these shuttles arriving without any plan, because I can just imagine how in something that's presumably so meticulously organized, it would just be so freaky to be like, what the hell? Someone's rocking up at the space station.
Imagine how much that would unsettle you. We've spent 6 months living to a perfect regime, every minute planned out, and then suddenly everything like this. God, I'm surprised we've not lost our minds already.
It's got that element of we're all presumably just teetering on the edge of sanity anyway.
Yeah,
like
completely.
relative to the normal population.
I'm so sad because I already love all of the characters we've got. It's worth pointing out we only created these characters basically in the last 24 hours, so I'm really impressed at how good they all are. This is really fun. I'm so attached to everyone at this point.
Especially your plant. What's the name of the plant? Howard?
Harold.
Was it Harold?
Harold.
I know. I actually thought when this scream happens, I'm going to knock Harold over.
No,
and that's going to make me really sad. But that's probably what will happen in the moment, isn't it? So I'm going to have even more sanity loss for Harold.
Yeah. When you started talking about your mice, I'm now concerned for player characters dying. I'm less because that's Call of Cthulhu. But the mice, we have to save the mice.
Sure the mice get saved. Olivia probably will think of the mice next session if it comes to it. So.
Amazing stuff. One last comment. There we go.
Yes, it's just like relatives arriving unannounced around the holidays. An equal test of sanity.
It's all just a metaphor for post-COVID isolation, social anxiety, etc.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Grand. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Come back next week for part 2. Thank you for watching. No Simba Room on Wednesday, but Werewolf on Thursday if you want more Telling Tales RPG joy. See you next Monday for part 2. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.